Welcome back to CBS News 24/7. It used to be fun to gas up and go, right? Well, no more. As the war in Iran rages, and you can see the prices here behind me, what you pay at the pump reaching all-time highs. In fact, highs you haven't seen in nearly 4 years. Get this, despite what you're seeing here behind me, which is likely from the state of California, the average cost for a gallon of gas in the United States, $4 a gallon, more than $6 if you live in California. Well, today above $4, yesterday just below $4, and last month, just for contrast, just below $3. Those are national averages. Live to New York and CBS News MoneyWatch correspondent Kelly O'Grady. Kelly, the last time we saw gas prices like this was back in what? August of 2022. So that was after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. It's painful for consumers, but you're also tracking the impact on people who run businesses that then trickle down to consumers.
Yeah, I remember that time well. I was a reporter out in Los Angeles, so I stood outside a gas station for months because the price behind me was so high. It feels a little bit like deja vu. But yeah, there's the obvious sort of impact to consumers when you and I go to the pump. But I think the more troubling impact and the broader impact to consumers eventually is what businesses are dealing with. And so when you see energy prices go up, we've talked about this before, it's not just gas, it's also diesel. When you aren't having a Strait of Hormuz that you are able to move oil, gas, energy, but also just trade in general through that very important waterway, you're seeing fertilizer prices go up. And so there's all sorts of impacts here, right? Oil is an important input into plastic. Fertilizer is an important input into the food that farmers are currently making decisions about right now in planting season to grow or not grow, or lock in those fertilizer prices, get that fertilizer here at a higher price. There's all sorts of different things. And this is really where the Federal Reserve gets concerned, because when you see the cost to transport, to make these goods, things that you and I don't think about normally, that's when you see prices and inflation seep into the broader economy. We aren't there yet, but for some industries like farming that I just mentioned, they are making these decisions right now. I spoke to one the other day. He said, we're kind of past the point of no return, and prices are going to go up for things that you and I might be consuming and buying maybe 4 or 5 months down the road.
Right. I'm a gentleman farmer myself. I can co-sign on that. Tomato cages I ordered last year were about $20. This year they're $50 for those plastic contraptions. Now, let's reference what Pete Hegseth said. He says that Iran wants to make a deal, that they have very much been at the table. Say we get a deal. Say we hear in the next week or two that there's a deal. Is there a lag time between a deal between Iran and the United States opening the Strait of Hormuz and when we could actually see things go down and maybe exhale a little bit?
There is going to be a lag time, certainly, because just let's think about gas prices first, right? It took about a month, as you referenced at the start, with where prices were a month ago versus now, to get to this point. So it's not going to be, let's snap our fingers and we're seeing under $3 a gallon for gas. So that's the first part of it. The second part of it is, even though the Strait of Hormuz isn't open, that's not the only issue. It's also some of these production fields have completely shut down because they have nowhere to put those barrels of oil because their storage is totally locked up because they're not able to push product through the Strait of Hormuz. And so it's going to take a little bit of time to get those operations online. And then the other thing that we just talked about, let's go back to the farming example. You as the farmer, you've already bought those, those plastic tomato bins. Some of these farmers have already planted, have used fertilizer at a higher cost. So those prices, you're not going to be able to go back on. They're going to have to sell at a higher cost to you and me at the grocery store. So it's really going to be industry by industry, but I know everyone thinks about gas prices, especially as we're going into the summer. If you were to see a deal in the next couple of weeks, you'd probably see prices start to come down slowly, and then by the end of the summer, fall, that's where things might be back to what people were seeing a month ago. But again, everything has to go right.
Right. Okay. Well, the lag time will definitely be part of the pain point. Kelly O'Grady, always good to talk to you. Thank you so much.